time. We're going to get the dogs a pen that they can run around in so that they don't have to be tied up there or anywhere. I'm about tired of tying up my dogs. It's just not kind to do that all of the time. So let's get them a place where they can run and at least move about. All right. So the first thing I've got to do is install these fence posts. And it's not an easy job. And normally it would be Brock to do this big heavy work, but Brock is not here to do it. And so I will start by pressing it in as far as I can, which isn't going to be very far. And then I have to use that pounder. And you lift it up and you pound it down. You lift it up and you pound it down. So let's see what I can do. And I've got to get this one pretty close so that they can't go between the fence post and, no, that's not going to work. This is where I need a man who is 6'6" to be here and help me out. Because I'm not really tall enough to get the leverage on it. Now, I'm going to want the wire to run on the inside of their fence. And so I am putting the long pointy side toward the outside. Whew. Well, I've gotten it down about 8 inches. And I've got feet to go. Almost. I'd like to get it down another, I don't know how tall that white spot is. I think it's 6 inches. So I'd like to get it down another 6 inches till it's about here. About chest height to me. I think I've hit a rock. I'm going to call it good enough because that's not going anywhere. All right. Now, I right now only have 1, 2, 3, 4. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more of these fence posts. And you're not supposed to have them too far apart. I've actually got 2 in the ground up closer to the trailer, but the truth is I don't have a puller. I'm not sure how I would get them out of the ground without a puller. I'm spraying lemon eucalyptus essential oil. It's been diluted with water and witch hazel and just a drop of dish soap. And what that does is it helps it to disperse in the water. The dish soap does. I think the witch hazel is supposed to do that, but it didn't work very well. So mosquitoes are supposed to not like lemon eucalyptus. And I don't have the backpack sprayer with me right now to be able to spray down the peppermint oil that I know they don't like. So there we go. Okay, so now you've seen how they're driven in, and so I am going to step back, or have you step back, I should say. Let's let you step back, and I will drive in a few more. You cannot do that. You can't just lay there and let them eat your nose. No, you can't. You either. I just spent 15 minutes trying to dig out a grounding rod that's still about 3.5 feet into the ground. Thinking, you know, I've got to have that grounding rod from last year. Well, then I remembered I had a spare. So for this small space, I am only going to need one grounding rod. So I'm going to knock that into the ground. And I still have to work out something for the gap between the dog's kennel and where I can actually start the fence. So I don't know. Not sure what I'm going to do yet there. But anyway, let's get moving. Okay, this is a grounding rod. It's about 6 foot long. I bought it at Tractor Supply last year. I'm going to set it just outside of their fence line, right here. And I'm going to pound it in the same way I did the fence posts. All right, I have hit a rock, but that is down about 3.5 feet, I reckon. So we're going to call that good enough. I just have to be able to connect the Energizer to this. This is my solar powered electric fence Energizer. It says 5 miles. I don't think you could really run 5 miles of wire effectively with this, but probably quite a lot. Definitely more than what I need it for. Because we are solar dark here in Michigan I'm told we're solar dark. I don't know this from experience, but for 2 months in the winter, I may end up getting a different Energizer, especially since I intend to have down the road, God willing, and if he preserves us, I would like to have livestock. So another Energizer that runs on a 12-volt battery that can be recharged would be a good idea. Anyway, so there is a bracket that you can use if you want to screw it onto a fence or something like that. I am actually just going to put this right here on the top like this. So I am going to use the existing fence posts from our batter boards, which are staying up because we're going to need them when we start building again in the spring. But for now, I've got to remove that grass because my bottom line can't run through grass. And I'm going to need it kind of low because Griswold will duck his head down and let the top of his head go through the wire because he won't get shocked if he does that. And I need it down low enough that if he puts his nose down, he cannot get under it. So we are going to use these insulators that are meant for putting on a T-post. All right, so thinking about the size of my dogs, I'm going to end up, I got to get this string off of there. There we go. That was easy enough. I'm going to end up having to put not just down low, but also in between. Oh, shoot. I'm no good at these. Come on. I think that's too low or too high. There we go. And then in the back, it should just snap into place. All right. But I can't just do the one. I've got to do both of them. Come on, snap. There we go. You just got to use a little bit of muscle. That's that thing I don't have a whole lot of. All right, so I put it like this. Go around and around again. And then snap. Got to get the grass away. Because you don't want the grass to ground out the hot wire. Well, I ended up coming home from work and putting the hot wires on the dog's fence off camera. I gotta get that fixed. I almost tripped. I came home from work and I had to put the hot wire on the dog's fence, and I didn't have a lot of time. So I did it off camera, but I'd like to show you my doggos. Okay, so there's Jazzy, and Griswold is down here in his cave. I don't know if you can see him down there. Jazzy will want some lovin'. Jazzy wants some lovin'. Yeah. Oh, there's Griswold. There's my Griswold. They're not actually locked in their cage though, because they can come out now. And because they had a hot wire back in Washington, I didn't even have to train them to the fence. They automatically avoid that fence. So they are much happier, and it's a very small run, but as I get more fence posts, I will be able to make a bigger and bigger and bigger play area for them, eventually moving out further into the woods and everything as I clean up and take down trees and clear area away. And I may have to dig some drainage. I'm not really sure, but I think I may have to dig some drainage because eventually I want some pasture land out there. I want to be able to put my chickens right down there because I'm standing in my house right now. Anyway, the next step is to protect the dogs from the mosquitoes. And right now, not a lot of mosquitoes. It's a beautiful morning. It will get bad, I promise, because it's July. They've been sleeping in the back of my truck at night, and I can't have them do that because starting tomorrow morning I have to be at work at 5:30, and so they're going to have to sleep in their cage, mosquitoes or not. So we are going to today build a screen room for my dogs to protect them from the mosquitoes. It won't be perfect. Some mosquitoes will still get in, but it will be a big improvement for them. So first thing I have to do is get a good flat surface to work on, and we'll start building. Okay, so I've actually evened these up. They're the same length on the other end. And so even though they're a little bit uneven here, they're actually perfectly even down at the other end. At least that's what my speed square says. So now we're just going to draw a line across so that these can all be the same length. And we're going to try our hand at using just this regular saw. I don't see a reason to use a power tool for everything. I gotta say the miter saw is actually easier. That's awful. I don't like it. Are the top and bottom boards for the long side that the doors are on. So we'll just set these aside. Let's see, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot, right there. Right. So I have these handy dandy corner clamps. Not 100% sure how they work. We're gonna figure it out. I'll loosely put it there. The idea being that they'll hold your boards at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so I've got the 2 biggest panels made, but before I can install the second one, I have to cut off those 2x4s that are making an awning for my dogs. I don't know what I'm going to do about an awning for them because they do have to have the shade. But for now, they've got to have mosquito protection more. It's well afternoon, probably closer on to 1 o'clock. I'm going to go sit down myself, take a few minutes break, cool off, drink some water, and then I will have to lock Jazzy in the cage, turn off the electric fence, and come out, I guess, with the circular saw, although I'd rather not do a circular saw up in the air like that. So I don't know, we'll figure it out one thing at a time. All right, I have taken a nice break, and I gotta look to get out my trailer. I have to go now, and you may remember if you watched my previous video that I used a couple of 2x4s to keep the cattle panel arch up for the roof of the dog's kennel. But now I have got to cut off part of those 2x4s. And so in order to do that, I'm going to pull one board out at a time, put it through the electric fence, cut it off with a saw, and then put it back. 'Cause I don't want to take the saw into there with the dogs. So let's see what we can't do. Get this thing fixed so my dogs can be mosquito free tonight and not have to sleep in my truck. So before I even plug this in, I'm going to adjust my blade so that it goes a little below the level of the board. All right. Nope, not quite. Now there is actually a mark, and it says 2x goes right there. Yep. So I gotta turn this so you can see it. Back in there is marks that have different measurements, and then here is a mark that you line it up with. You cannot see my finger. There we go. And here is a mark that you line it up with. It's really hard to see in the video, but just examine your saw. You should be able to find that mark if it's like mine. My dogs have no idea what's going on. They just know that mom's outside with them, and that always makes them happier. Sometimes I come out and they'll just, as soon as they see me, they start playing and romping and play fighting, and I don't know what that is, why that is. There's a lot of speculation, but who can really know what a dog is thinking? Anyway, this is the Energizer. We're turning that back on. Okay, I bought this magic mesh screen door, and I've kind of done as much as I can do today as far as enclosing the dog's space, except that I want to put up this screen door so they can go out into their run. I need to buy more of the furring strips, just a couple more, so that I can make doors. I already bought hinges for them, and I want to make doors, or a door, so that it opens and closes better, because right now I've just had to tape some screen up to the gate of their kennel. So let's go ahead and see what we can do about installing this magic mesh. All right, here we are. It's another day, the very next day, and I need to do a little more work on this kennel to get the screens working correctly and get things buckled down a little bit more. I am going to make a door frame for a screen door, and hopefully I'll be able to keep that screen on then. Unfortunately, the duct tape that I used just to kind of hold it on overnight, it's no longer working. It was still working this morning as far as I could tell, although I'm not sure because it was almost still pitch black when I left the house this morning for work. But let's, before some more weather comes in, see if we can get at least a screen door built for the kennel here. Okay, so here's that bonus that I mentioned before. Stay to the end and you'll see what I'm doing for next year to protect my livestock guardian dogs from the mosquitoes. So, I have here some potting soil, which I am going to pour into this cardboard box. Now, why am I using a cardboard box? Because I don't have any seed starting plant trays. I don't have any flower pots. All I have is cardboard boxes. But these are going to do just fine to get us started. So, I'm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Nothing is going to live outside. But I figure if I can get things started now, they'll be ready to go out after a nice long winter. And if I can keep them alive in the cabin, they'll be nice and big and strong. So, one plant that mosquitoes hate is rosemary. So, this rosemary seeds says that you can only plant them in June. It's July now. Oh, June to July. Okay, June to July. So we're still in July. And so I am going to go ahead and plant them. It says start seeds indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. And then transplant them outside, June to July. Over the winter, rosemary would die anyway. So I'm going to plant it now. And it wants me to do these 1/4 of an inch deep, 12 inches apart. Now I'm not going to do them 12 inches apart. I will do them 1/4 inch deep. And just put a few in here. The ones that live, great. The ones that don't, won't. But eventually I'll be transplanting these to pots anyway. So I'll thin them out to get better spacing and eventually transplant them to pots. Get that 1/4 inch deep and just a few more. And I will water this in here in a little bit, but I have more seeds. So another plant that mosquitoes hate, I am told, is marigolds. Now, is it time for marigolds? I think not. And I can plant these and they're never going to flower. But I'm going to try it anyway. How's that? Maybe in the fall we'll have flowers in the fall with the marigolds. I don't know. So let's just fill up this Kleenex box here. Yeah, Kleenex box. I don't know if this is going to work, but I know that mosquitoes are here until winter. And they don't like marigolds, according to the Google machine. So, a little more. I have a great big rock in my potting soil. All right, let's get a few marigolds in. These marigold seeds are from marigolds that I grew last year. I am not some kind of fancy planter. I don't even follow the rules. I stick seeds in the ground. If they grow, great. And this is the last one, peppermint. They say never put peppermint directly in the ground because it will take over. If I thought that it would sprout now, go into the ground, take over, and have me mosquito free for next year, I would buy 100 packets of it and sprinkle it out everywhere. All right. And so they look like dust. They're so small. I am just going to barely sprinkle some on there. And then put a light dusting over. All right, I am going to very carefully and gently water all of these in. And I am going to, for now, put them underneath my trailer so they're not in the direct sun drying them out until after they've sprouted and everything. And hopefully next year I'll have some plants that I can put in the ground that will help deter mosquitoes. We'll see how that works next year. And that is how I am protecting the Homestead Guardian dogs from mosquitoes. I have screened in their kennel one more time, this time with frames to hold the screens in place. And I have planted some plants, and we have done the magic mesh curtain, and it is working wonderfully. The dogs can now go in and out of their electric fence without me having to be here. And in fact, see, there it is, and it is working, and they stay away from the wires because they know that it hurts. Once I'm able to get more of the fence posts, I will increase their territory. I would like them to be able to go out into the woods a little ways and really have more space to explore. Also, I have to tell you that my smallest dog, small as in not 150 pounds quite, he is afraid of the dark. And so he kept me up 2 nights in a row because it is pitch black out here in the country. And so I left my trailer light on all night last night and he didn't bark once. So, yes, I put up a floodlight. Let's see if you can see that. There it is. There is my floodlight. And that will automatically go off if anything moves within its range. And yet it won't go off just because one of my dogs moved in his house. So, guarding the livestock guardian dogs, I am getting sweat in my eyes. So that's all for this week. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Have a wonderful week. I will see you next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise. And remember, it doesn't matter how old you are. It's never too late to start. You have a great week. Bye.